Welcome, football fans, but most importantly, USFL fans, to episode 17, a little late, of the USFL Authority. As always, I am one of your co-hosts, Ace, and I'm joined by my main man, Webb, and our wonderful producer, KB. How are we doing?
Wonderful. KB, how are you?
We're doing great, gentlemen. My apologies for getting a delayed episode out. Sorry I couldn't record last night, but I appreciate your grace in that.
Hey, it's absolutely no worries, because Webb and I actually sat down and interviewed a new writer. We have multiple new writers for the USFL. We have Sir Random Guy. We got USFLians. Scout from that account is coming on and writing for us. We'll see if we can contain the man. We got the New England Sports writer.
Review. Yeah, New England Sports Review.
New England Sports Review. We got Dusty and Bubba. We have fantasy articles coming. So we are locked and loaded. We're bringing you all of our normal video content, but we realized it's a lot to do that and also do writing. So we got more people to help us write. So we are just bringing you all the USFL content and maybe other stuff later, but we'll talk about that another day.
Stronger than ever. Stronger
than ever. Yeah. Stronger than ever. But talk about stronger than ever. How about them gamblers? I mean, we're coming off a loss, but whatever.
Yeah, well.
But I feel this week. And you know why I feel this week?
Oh, man. Come on.
Because it's the USFL Authority Bowl.
Come on, man.
It's the USFL Authority Bowl.
Yeah.
But don't worry. If you look at our little ticker up here, our little rundown, that's coming up later. But what is our first thing that we're going to be talking about?
Power rankings, man.
Power rankings.
Yeah.
Let's talk about our power rankings, my friend. Okay, so there was a little bit of a shakeup. I do enjoy the weeks, although it's a little bit harder to put the graphic together. It's fun the weeks where there's a lot of green and red arrows, because you know that there's a lot of movement. And we got 3 different 2s on this board, which means that 3 teams moved 2 spots, which is a big jump, especially now that we're deeper in the season. You think that spots would be much more set in stone. But because this league is as crazy as it is nowhere near set in stone, as we have a 3-way tie for second and a 3-way tie for last?
Yep.
Oh my gosh, that's ridiculous. So let's start with it. Who's too high?
2-way tie for last. Too high? Too high? Oh man, the Houston Gamblers. Dang. I think them and the Breakers should be below the Stars. I think I put the Gamblers at 3, but thinking about it through the whole week, I think the Stars in the driver's seat, so they have to be one of the top 4, right? Like they have to be. They're in the driver's seat in the North. Your Gamblers did not impress me. The Breakers, like they fell apart. But in all reality, like who replaces those two teams? I don't know. Maybe the Stars have a case. Maybe they don't. So I guess it's all right, but I don't think the Gamblers are clear-cut number 3, and I don't think the Breakers are clear-cut number 4. But 1 and 2, I agree with. I'm going to be honest with you. I might be slow to this party, but the Stallions might be the best team in this league.
I don't know. So I watched it, right? Again, the Stallions, I'm going to keep saying it. They are an Alex Magoo away from being the worst team in this league. That man is putting his body on the line. He is making ridiculous throws. And I mean, their offense is nothing without the guy. Like he really is the whole thing.
Mark Thompson.
Fair. Yeah, that's fair, man. The 2 guys who are the top 2 for the MVP, it makes sense that they are that big of a presence on their team that if they fall off, then their team's done. You know, teams are starting to contain Mark Thompson, and that's affecting our entire offense. We can't get the passing game going because we can't get the pressure off our quarterback because we can't get the running back to run. It's a whole thing. But Alex Magoo, he's such an important part. And, you know, you saw it again this week. He took a hit. He got hit in the ribs. Now, I can agree that they're at least number 1, number 2, but I think nobody is playing hotter than the Showboats right now. I think that they would be my number 1.
I agree. That defense is rolling.
It's crazy.
Todd Haley, it seems like he has the locker room. Last year, it seemed like the locker room kind of was fractured. You remember they cut Reggie Howard, all-pro, all USFL.
They cut 2 of their best players towards the end of the season.
Christian Sam, the first guy that gets signed to the NFL.
Reggie Howard and Christian Sam. It made no sense. I think Brandon last year, he was like, maybe they're doing this so that they can play in the playoffs and have a better shot at getting signed on an NFL team. I don't know. But they cut them when they still had a shot at the playoffs. So it just didn't make sense. But I think the Showboats should be number 1. And I agree with you that the Stars should move up, at least above the Breakers, because everybody wants to talk about, the Gamblers and the Showboats were going in with a 3-win streak and a 4-win streak. The Stars have a 3-win streak right now. Yeah. I mean, that's the second longest streak in the league. They had a win week 1, and now they're on a 3-win streak. That's impressive. They went from a lot of people had them as the last team on the league, and now we're talking about possibly putting them at 3. I think it's the most improved. You see them adapting and overcoming, and being able to do that is something that really shows a team, for me, that can go to the championship.
The best thing about this past win for the Stars against the Maulers was they, like the win against the Generals, they had 8 field goals. Nothing exciting. The win against the Breakers, it was kind of not really exciting. They just beat the Breakers.
Yeah.
This week, like, the offense looked like it had another gear. Their kick return had another gear. Their defense played well. You could say what you want against the Maulers. They played well enough, creating turnovers.
Yeah.
The Stars are figuring the offensive line, like, it wasn't like Boogie and Olive and the defensive line were hitting Case Cookis every single time.
Which you expected.
Yeah, especially they just cut an offensive lineman, so you thought more, not as much continuity. But it seems like the Stars, Bart Andrews, figuring it out, and I despise that I have to say that out loud.
Yes, and the big thing for me is that last year, midway through the season, when they started, the Case Cookis bump, and suddenly they were making their ride to the championship, it was mostly the offense. Their defense was not moving up with the offense. This past game, you saw all 3 levels of the Stars elevate a bit. You saw, their special teams, their offense, and their defense all played better than they did the week before.
And their running game.
Running game. Matt Coburn, that man played well. And these are the things that you're looking for in a team in the second half of the season who's still in the playoff race to be able to make it into the playoffs and possibly a championship. If you see a team, let's say the Breakers started hot, and now you're seeing things just fall off. Their defense getting worse, their offense much worse. Hills, the dude is just falling apart. He hasn't had a touchdown since he was the league leader in touchdowns.
Yeah.
That's not what you want to do. You want the curve to be up. You don't want it to be down. And right now the Stars is up. So they're the team I'm the hottest on. Them and the Showboats, I think, are the 2 hottest teams right now. The Stallions are just scrappy. They're just the ones who are getting it done. So I do agree that they should be up there. But the Stars and Showboats, those are the teams.
So this week it's 1 versus 5, right? It's 3 versus 7. It's 4 versus 6 and 2 versus 8. So we should see some shakeup next week.
Yes, and the matchup that I'm excited about, which we'll talk about in a second, is the Breakers and Panthers. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Next, what we have is our players of the week. Yep. Now, we are going to do it a little different. We're going to do 2 players of the week each, because we have our overall player of the week, and then we have our USFL Bull player of the week, because this is the big week. This is the week Webb and I have had circled on our calendars all season. We were going to try and make it there, but sadly, I can't make it to that game. Webb can't make it to that game, so we're going to watch from home. But my Gamblers are playing Webb's Maulers, the 2 teams that the USFL Network is the deepest in. Each of us have interviewed most of these teams, like most of the players on these 2 teams. We have the most desire to see this team do well. And now we're facing each other. So we're going to do our overall player of the week, and then I'm going to do a Gamblers player of the week, and you are going to do your Maulers player of the week. Yeah. Let's roll.
Right. CJ Maribel for me for the league player of the week. You know me, I don't like to choose who gets nominated and who wins the player of the week award like Josh Shalov. He deserved it. But we should shout out Maribel because I think he was crucial in beating and closing out the Breakers. 86 yards. He had 6 catches, 52 yards, which was the third of Magoo's passing yards this week. Did he score a touchdown? No, but they were able to keep drives going, and CJ Maribel was a key part of it. And I think – and now they're probably the one team outside of the Stars that – well, they are in their driver's seat. Like, they controlled – what happens to the rest of the league, really, and everything. All roads, all teams have to go through Birmingham. So, but that's another topic, I guess, right?
Yeah, well, true. But the biggest thing to me was that at the end of the game, they really had to control the clock.
Yep.
Was that they got up on New Orleans, but they had to keep the ball away from them because they do have Jay Adams. They do have, Wes Hills. They do have Anthony Jones. They have all these weapons and MBT. So you just didn't want to get them the ball. And CJ Marable was the battering ram that was able to put that game away. And so that was big. And I understand, even though without a touchdown, those are the things that don't show up on the stat board, is that he did it when it mattered most and put the game away. Now, definitely. My overall player of the week is going to be, sadly, the guy who I think was the biggest part in taking down my gamblers this week, John Atkins, the defensive tackle with 5 pass breakups. 5 pass breakups. As a defensive tackle, oh my gosh, I haven't even seen a secondary. Yeah. I haven't even seen a safety or a corner or a linebacker put up 5 pass breakups this season. That man, sorry.
Mark Gilbert.
Yeah. He did against Joe Walker.
Joe Walker's still in his pocket.
But I mean, to do it as a defensive tackle is a completely overlooked stat. He won co-defensive player of the week. I think he should have won player of the week, because that man single-handedly was shutting Kenji down and ruining drives, because our receivers were getting open. We have the receiving core. That can happen. We just couldn't get the ball to them because this guy got a key on Kenji Bahar's rhythm, and he was like, as soon as he starts loading up, I know exactly when I'm going to go. It was like playing Madden, and you knew exactly when you needed to press A, and he did it every time, and it was infuriating for me. He almost ruined my last day on my cruise, but he didn't. I had fun. But such a dominant performance. Yeah. It's not always that you need to get to the quarterback. Sometimes you just have to disrupt him. And John Atkins was phenomenal this weekend. But moving on to, I've said but a lot. Moving on to the USFL Authority Bowl, who is your Maulers player of the week?
It's kind of obvious. Josh Simmons, the big kick return, the heads up play right before halftime. Man, that's different level intelligence. He caught a couple balls this weekend, which is good for him because he hasn't had a lot of receptions this year. But the kick return, I think he set the single season record for most return yards in a game. It might be just for this year. I don't know if Turpin had a bigger game last year. Simmons was dynamic the entire night and really carried and helped out the Maulers. So he's definitely the player of the game. I know where you're going with yours, so go ahead.
Absolutely. Who am I going with? I'm going with number 22, Manny Bunch from Oklahoma. Oh my gosh, this man got snubbed so hard. Yeah. I mean, I understand not winning defensive player of the week, maybe, but not even being nominated. Oh my gosh, the man had 11 tackles. He had a pass breakup. He had an interception on the first play of the game. He had a strip sack that put us right back into it, and we almost won the game because of that. This man was absolutely dominant. He played the best game I've ever seen out of him. And he's going to be incredibly important going forward because his partner in crime out there, Donald Rutledge, was just placed on IR. So it's great that he's playing the best ball he's been playing right now. But to not even be nominated just hurt. It sucked as a fan. It probably wasn't fun for him. And I just had to give him that love. He was my Gamblers Player of the Week. I put the graphic out there. A lot of people were agreeing with me. Love it. I loved seeing Manny play well.
He was awesome. Just the way they nominate players of the week is part of the problem because he played in the same game as Atkins, who was your other player of the week. Yeah, so there's just one for offense, defense, and special team in the game.
And it's hard to get nominated on the losing team. I understand it.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
Yeah,
but come on.
Definitely.
But what a strip sack, an interception, 11 tackles, 6 of which were solo. Oh my gosh, these stats were boggling my mind. The guy was all over the field. And I love to see it because Manny has always been a great friend to me and my show. And I love seeing guys like that who are just open to sharing, do well. So that made me really happy. And I wish him to get all the recognition that he deserves. So those are our week 7 players of the week, both USFL Authority Bowl and overall. Now, we move on to our week 8 predictions. Let's see if I can share the screen correctly.
Unfortunately.
And first try. What is up?
You took the lead, I see.
I did take the lead. It took a while after I think I had an 0-4 week. 1 week, didn't I? The first week we did this?
I think you went 1-3 and I went 4-0. There's something like that.
And you went 4-0 and you almost went 0-4 this week. Oh, it was so close.
Well,
If
in
the Gamblers
reality,
had pulled it out,
all the games were one-score games, so you almost went 0-4 too.
yeah, but I went 3-1.
Yeah, I'll give it to you. Don't call it a comeback.
Was KB going to talk? I think KB may have gone 4-0. KB, what'd you go?
I went 3-1.
3-1.
She took the Maulers.
I took the Gamblers.
She took the Gamblers.
No, I took the Generals.
Okay, there you go. Okay, which I told you, the Generals aren't it. This year they have fallen apart. Now they don't have DeAndre Johnson. Again, we hope he comes back healthy and better than ever. But that team is just falling apart. If it's not Darius Victor, there's nothing good on the Generals. So, I mean, that's the one game that we agreed on this week, or two games. Yeah. One of the games was that the Generals got nothing going on. So let's go. We're going to save our game for last because, I mean, it rolls into our next subject. So why not? Let's talk about the Stars at the Stallions, which is 3 p.m. Eastern on NBC Saturday afternoon. Yeah. You picked the Stallions. I picked the Stars. Yeah. Why do you think that the Stallions have the Stars number?
First of all, this is obviously a rematch to the championship last year. It's also the two teams that are leading their divisions and control basically one spot. If they just went out or they do what they need to do, they got a game to play with on everyone. I took the Stallions because I think they're rolling. I told you at the beginning, I think they probably are the best team right now. It pains me to say that a lot, but
me too.
They're probably the best complete team. I know you say if Magoo goes down, are they in trouble? More than likely, yes. 100%. I agree with you. But I think every team's kind of got a player where, like, if MBT goes down for the Breakers, you know the Breakers are done. Like, yes. Every team's got.
Cole Kelly goes down for the Showboats. Yeah. They're done.
I don't know about the Maulers, and I don't know about the Gamblers, really. Or Gamblers, Mark Thompson. And then the Stars, probably Case Cookis, and
Panthers,
Showboats.
Frank Ginda. Showboats, Cole Kelly. I said that.
Panthers, I don't know. Maybe it's Josh Love right now.
Josh Love, I guess.
Yeah, but those teams are obviously fighting for their playoff lives every week now. But
yes,
with this game, I just feel like the Stallions are rolling. I think they got over their biggest hurdle, which was dealing with the adversity when they were losing, and they almost lost to the Maulers. And now they're finishing a pretty good last couple weeks here. And I just feel like they're ascending right now at a good time. And Magoo is the MVP right now, if I had to vote. And, man, I can't get over this. But I don't fully believe the Stars. I believe they're playing well, but I don't fully trust them yet. I think the Stallions win. I think it's close, but I think the Stallions win.
See, I also think it's close, but I think the Stars win. I think the Stars are getting better every week. I talked about it. The curve is going up. They're getting better on all three aspects of the game. I think Case Cookis is starting to look better. He's starting to look like he's having fun out there. Matt Colburn got his run game going. The Stallions defense has not been the Stallions defense that we saw last year. So I think that this is a great matchup. I think that it could end up being a pretty high scoring game, but the big thing for me is that Alex Magoo has been the difference for the Stallions. But the difference for the Stars the past couple weeks has been their defensive line and Adam Rodriguez coming in, blitzing, and getting sacks on the quarterback. They got sacks on Troy Williams a bunch of times this week, and he's faster than Alex Magoo. Yeah. So to be able to get that kind of pressure on a mobile quarterback, I think they can do it again this week. I think that they can overcome the Stallions. And don't get me wrong, the Stallions, they do look like the number one team right now, but they still have the Stars, Gamblers, and Showboats to finish their season. That is a hard schedule. That's a hard 3 weeks. You're facing two of the hottest teams. They have the two longest winning records, and the Gamblers, who seem to have their goat. So I don't know. It's a long road for the Stallions, but I think they could do it. I just don't think it's this week.
Gotcha. All right. You ready for Sunday? It seems like we agree on Sunday.
We agree on Sunday entirely. Yeah. So Showboats and Generals, 1 p.m. Eastern on Fox. Yeah. We both have the Showboats, and I think the Generals are a garbage fire right now. We have some friends of the show that are Generals. Sorry, guys, your team looks bad. Like, if you go and lose to the Panthers, there's not much going for you.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Showboats on defense, the defensive line is playing well, which that is the biggest key in this league. The teams that are most successful are succeeding getting to the quarterback. I know that sounds very simple for football, but in this league, it really stands out because the offensive lines aren't top notch right now.
Yeah.
The Generals losing DeAndre Johnson possibly. I know I saw him at practice through the social media, but I don't know. Obviously, they signed Eric Barrier this week, so it tells you that they have some worries. Losing DJ, I think, is a big part of their
It's
offense. I know
huge knock.
they seem to trust Loletta, but like DJ
I will
brings
say
it
this.
to a different level.
Loletta looked good this week. He looked
their offensive line protected him, and he's standing up. But if their offensive line struggles against a Showboats,
whose defensive line is really good.
they're like 5 or 6 deep. Like, and I'm a Maulers guy, and that's the first time that I'll say publicly, like, they're pretty even with the Maulers.
Oh,
with
yeah.
Boogie Olive and like Atkins, they've got guys on that
Reeves, Greg Reeves.
Yeah. So
he's leading the league in sacks, isn't he?
No, Breland Speaks is. But if I know we put our locks on our game, this would have been my lock, without a doubt.
Oh, 100%. We could have moved those gold squares over too, and both said the Showboats because it might even end up being a game, but I still think the Showboats would come out on top. I don't trust Kyle Loletta enough, especially against this defense. Kyrie Woods is out. Unfortunately, he took that huge hit last week, but I still think the rest of their defense shows up and shuts down this offense. Without any kind of mobile quarterback, they're not going to play Barrier this week. That would be insane to pick him up. What was it, 2 days ago?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that'd be crazier than Vad Lee winning against the Gamblers last year. That's too quick. They have Dakota Prukup, but they seem to not trust him at all. He's not even active the past couple of weeks. There's just nothing going on for this team other than Darius Victor. Chris Orr, who knows if he's still going to play. Shalom Luani. I mean, that's your defense right there. That's the thing that really holds it down, and you don't have them. I just don't trust the Generals at all. I think they could end up being the last place team at the end of the season.
Which I'm fine with, because that means they lose to the Maulers on week 10 and might push the Maulers to the playoffs. But this is definitely the lock of the week. I think this is, if there isn't, I think all the rest of them can be 1-score games. I think this one could be
a blowout.
I think this one gets ugly in Canton, and unfortunately, the Canton teams can't win in Canton unless they're playing each other. So far, but
that's fair. But now we have the last game of the week, which is the Panthers at the New Orleans Breakers. Now, this one is not as much of a lock for me. I almost put the Panthers just because it's my brother's team.
Surprise.
Yeah, just because it's my brother's team. But I just don't think that they're going to get it done this week. I think the Breakers have too many weapons. MBT was able to get the ball to Jay Adams consistently this week. He was able to get the passing game going. It seems like they might be able to get a little bit of offense going. And if they can do that, they should beat the Panthers.
Yeah, I think the Breakers will bounce back here. The Panthers beat a Generals team that, as we just said, might be the worst team in the league.
Worst.
And it was close for the most part. I know it wasn't a 2-point game. I know it ended up at a 3, but the Generals still had a shot in the fourth quarter. I don't think the Panthers. That was one of my teams. If the Gamblers and the Breakers weren't 3 and 4 with the Stars at 5, Panthers probably, I would have said, was too high. Even though they got a better record than the Maulers, I think the Panthers haven't done anything since week 2. Honestly, I know they beat the Generals, but they've kind of been the Panthers. It's just their MO. So I think DeFilippo gets this team going. I don't know if they make the playoffs, the Breakers. I really don't.
I don't think they do.
Yeah,
I think at this point
for them. Yeah,
I know the Gamblers are sitting in 4th, but I really think it's the Breakers.
Yeah, well, next week you play the Gamblers play the Breakers, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that will dictate that second spot more likely.
100%.
Actually, no, it might not. It might not even matter, because if the Boats just keep winning, it doesn't make a difference. Yep. But I just feel the Breakers will bounce back. The Panthers, I think, are the best team. When you're seeing a long losing streak, the Panthers might be the best team in the league right now to
play against.
So, and it's in Birmingham. So I think the Breakers play well in Birmingham too. So,
although the Panthers do well away, the Panthers cannot win at home, and they win their away games. It's the weirdest thing, but I still don't think they do it.
Yeah, either do I. I think MBT gets some time, and I think he has a couple touchdowns. I don't think it's a lock, but I think they win comfortably. So,
me too. But now we have our lock of the week. Each of us locked this game, but for different teams, and that is because it is the USFL Authority Bowl. I want to see you full on face to face right now, brother. This is the week that we have been waiting for. Let's get ready to rumble. That was so cringy, but
yeah.
Week 8, man, our teams are playing, and let's be lawyers here. Preach your case to me. Why do you think that they're going to win?
Okay, one team is second in the league in turnovers and interceptions. Another team is one back from being the leader of creating interceptions. If the Maulers make Kenji Bahar beat them, Kenji Bahar won't beat them. It's as simple as that. It comes down to Mark Thompson. Mark Thompson might be the best individual player on the field. And I think if the Maulers can control the Gamblers in the running game and make Kenji Bahar, especially you lost Anthony Ratliff Williams, right? Mm-hmm. You're banged up a little bit on secondary too with Rutledge out.
That one hurts.
Right? Like you've got a couple of injuries that you're dealing with. The Maulers are kind of healthy. Malcolm Howard.
Everybody else, when I was looking at their stupid injury reports, all the other teams were like full go. And then you look at the Gamblers, it says probable, doubtful, out, probable, doubtful.
Yeah. Oh, but. So, and I don't know what happened with Terry Wilson.
Yeah, me neither.
So for him to be moved down, it just seems like, I don't know, man. You guys are facing some adversity for the first time in a while. And talking with the Maulers, they're pretty angry, and they know what they need to do to get in. That's all they want to do is get to the dance. They can dance with anyone. They just got to get to the dance, and you've got to climb. With all due respect, you guys in the South, I don't know how you live because it is so frustrating because probably those 4 teams are better than the 4 teams in the North right now. Like the Stars might be the only team that could say they can compete in the South at this point. So you've got a tough road.
I know.
Yeah.
All right, so the biggest thing, other than, having Donald Rutledge out, other than Anthony Ratliff Williams, the O-line, the biggest thing to me was that Jordan Steckler, who we dropped Rowan Prescott for, and then we picked up Jordan Steckler because he was a 2-year backup on the Houston Texans. He's a legit guy, has a chance of getting back into the league. And then Braylon Jones, also our starting guard on the left side, is also out. This is really not good for me because those are 2 of our best offensive linemen. Our left tackle, Brandon Hittner, was getting spun like a turnstile last week. And we're going up against one of the best defensive lines of the league. So that really scares me. But when we talk about Anthony Ratliff Williams, I love the man. But if we're talking X's and O's, we have Isaiah Zuber. We have Kiki Chisholm. Yeah. We have, if there's one position we have a plethora of, it is wide receiver. Right. And Zuber is going to step in and he's going to do the kick returns, right? So that's a 1-for-1, exchange. And then you talk about Donald Rutledge. Now, we might not have the hitting power that he has, but we have someone who is going to fill the position immediately. We have Isaiah Lewis. He's been here a couple of weeks now. He joins from Colorado Boulder. We have his defensive backs coach and his defensive coordinator. This guy already knows the defense. So he can come in and immediately play like he's been there, which is huge. Because you don't want a guy coming in who's still trying to learn the playbook. You're just trying to fill a spot. We have a guy who can come in and actually make the plays, understand the playbook, and our defense can stay as complex as it has been, which is huge for me. And another thing is we have another edge rusher, Guy Thomas, also from Colorado Boulder, also coming from his D-line coach and DC is Chris Wilson, who is our DC here in the Gamblers. So we're filling spots with guys who already know the defense, which is really good. For a defense that's getting hot, we want to stay hot. I love that. Now, where I'm really worried is the offensive line, but I think that we can overcome it because I think that we can use Mark Thompson, and if we get a little creative with our play calling and not just run the ball on third and goal, which everybody in the stadium knew we were going to do. If we can just not do that, be a little more creative, get the ball into our playmakers' hands in just creative ways, wide receiver screens, end arounds, just over the middle passes. These kinds of things, I think that we will have you guys. All we got to do is contain your offense, which everybody has proved is not that hard.
Well, here's the thing. If we don't turn over the ball, we're undefeated. It's as simple as that. So if the off and here's the thing about your defense. You're second to last in creating turnovers. So I'm not worried about 100%. Your team getting fumbles 100%. And interceptions. Troy Williams will take care of the ball against your defense. Your defense is not going to create the turnovers that the Stars defense can.
Oh, 100%. I'm not worried about turnovers. We haven't won on turnovers. We literally have not.
But that's what I'm saying. If the Maulers are 2-0, if they win the turnover battle, they are 0-5 when they lose it. So if they're not turning over the ball, they're going to be perfectly fine. Simple as that. It's historic.
And then
they're 1-0 all time against the Gamblers. So
all we have to do is make Troy Williams throw the ball.
But here's the thing: if he's not throwing turnovers, he's fine. I'm telling you, he's fine.
But your offense isn't moving.
First of all, our kick returning game brings you up to the 40-yard line already. Like, we have the best kick returners between Henny and Simmons. You can't
100%.
Return of excellence, right? That's what I'm calling them. Return of excellence. They're just anything's possible, right? With those guys.
Mm-hmm.
If they don't have to move the ball that much, as long as they're putting up points, you guys don't put up points. First of all, your defense is second in the league for giving up the most points as well. So you can't claim that your defense is going to get there when you're giving up 24 points a game and the Maulers are only giving up 19. So you're giving up the points against everyone, and you haven't even played the Maulers yet. I'm
talking about the past few weeks. Our defense has looked absolutely different. They're getting better each week because this was a defense that had 0 people returning other than my man, Manny Bunch. Dude, they're figuring it out. They're young guys, and they're all maturing, and the defense is getting better. We're allowing less points each week. Last week, that Derek Dillon ridiculous pass, that broke our back. But before that, I mean, their yardage wasn't crazy. They weren't scoring that many points. The defense was the only thing that held us in the game. And if we're relying on defense, we might see a 7-3 game this week.
There's no way. There's no way in the USFL a 7-3 game. If it is, both of our head coaches got to look for new jobs because you should be able to score 20 points in this league. But I think if Madre gets, I think we're going to see a lot more Madre.
Man, talk about a run game that has not got started.
I'm not disagreeing.
Eric Groshek and Madre London are painfully on.
Troy Williams is our leading rusher. I agree with you. For the second week in a row, it was not a running back. Well, it wasn't a quarterback or running back. What were you doing? Trying to turn me off?
No, I was trying to put the agenda up.
Now you stopped my train of thought. I see what you're doing.
Yeah, I ruined you. Gamblers. We got this.
For 2 weeks in a row now, the leading rusher for the Maulers has not been a quarterback or a running back, and that's a problem. I'll give you that.
That is a huge problem.
But I think we saw some things that they can run against your team because I think the Stars' defensive line is better than yours right now, and I think we'll be able to run the ball against you guys a little bit. I really do. I really think. And Leon Johnson's coming, brand new tackle, signed from the Stars. Terry Poole's there. They're making some changes. Could it be good? Could it be bad? Sure. But I think if they have a complete team effort, don't make stupid penalties and win the turnover battle. And I know it sounds so simple by saying that, but the Maulers are 2-0 when they do that, better than the other team.
And that's their only 2 wins.
It is their only 2 wins, but when they don't do it better, they're 0-5. They're 0-5. So, like, there's a clear drop-off, right?
Yes.
And if they take care of the ball, which your team doesn't create a lot of turnovers, I think
we did early on. We did not later on. The only thing was when we were in crunch time, just trying to get into the end zone. Yes, Kenji threw an interception in the game this week, but otherwise, that was his first interception in like 3 or 4 weeks. Was the earlier one, not that one.
Yeah, I get you. He has more interceptions than touchdowns, so. That means he's not going to beat you with his arm, almost like Troy Williams, right? That's
okay, but he's also not the leading rusher on the team.
He isn't because you have Mark Thompson, and I told you from the jump, Mark Thompson is going to be the key to this whole game. He's the best player on the field individually, and I think this game will be his worst output. And I'm not saying that because I'm a Maulers fan. I think Tez and
even when Austin, 2 weeks ago he put up a touchdown in like 40 yards.
Oh, I just picture him 80 yards, 2 touchdowns.
Who are we playing? Who was 2 weeks ago? It was
The boats. No,
the Generals.
The Generals.
The Generals. Man, they decided. They said we are just going to stop Mark Thompson.
Wasn't he banged up at the end of the game? That wasn't that game.
No, they were just like, we're gonna sell out, and we're only gonna stop Mark Thompson. And then we started getting our passing going, and we won.
Fair enough. I'm excited because I'm
excited. I think this game could go either way. This is a toss-up.
Yeah, we'll see. Who's your prediction for player of the game?
Mark
for your
Thompson.
team. All right. How about for our team?
For your team?
Yeah. What's the one player you're scared of?
It's got to be probably Olive.
Olive.
That man is. Yeah, I think that with our banged up O-line, he could be the John Atkins of this week. And if he does, it's going to just upset me, and I'm going to see those two guys in my nightmare.
All right.
But we could go back and forth on this for hours and hours and hours, and it's not going to matter because we don't actually have any effect on the game. But hopefully everybody watching enjoyed our points and has picked a side. But
KB, hold on, KB, hold on. Who's your pick for the game?
Don't do this to me.
Who's your pick for the game? No, you're going to blindside me. I'm blindsiding you right now.
Don't do this to me. I am not participating in this madness.
You are participating in this
I am
madness.
not.
KB, you have to break the tie. You have to break the tie.
My mother-in-law. You jerk.
He just gave you an out.
No, but I don't.
She doesn't work that way. She's
I truly don't.
Mm-hmm.
Come on,
gosh.
Gut instinct. Just gut. We won't hold you to it. You can change it by the end of the week.
What are you talking about? This is going to be
Gamblers.
This is going to be published tomorrow morning.
Pittsburgh Maulers are 1-0 all time.
Gamblers.
Pittsburgh Maulers are 1-0 all time.
You got to pick them Houston Gamblers. All right.
1-0. Bailey Gaither is a legend. You still can't cover him. You still can't cover. Where's Vadley? Philadeoia on the inactive list. He's on the inactive list.
You can't beat us. You don't have Vadley.
Oh yeah. Okay. You're gonna get a little Troy.
All right, KB, hit us with the blind side. Hit us with the graphic. The video.
All right.
We threw her all.
All right, so we got away with that without KB having to pick a side. But we will let everybody out there pick a side. We will post a poll. I'll post it on YouTube right after we finish doing this. Who knows? So go check that out. After you watch the show, go click who you think is going to win, Gamblers Maulers. Now, KB, hit us with your blind side.
All right, so I'm not going to ask the blind side that I thought I was going to ask when this started. I am already pivoting. Probably because I think you can probably get through this the fastest, and because I have something else I want to ask in addition. Do you think that Mike Pereira has too much control?
Ooh.
I will not answer that question until KB gives us her game pick for the Maulers and Gamblers.
You cannot hold me hostage.
Yes, Mike Pereira has too much control. It's as simple as that.
I don't think so.
He has way too much control because he is the rule guy. There should be multiple guys. That's all I'm saying.
A committee?
No,
a committee of guys sitting there?
I'm saying maybe he does the Saturday games and another guy does the Sunday games. It's as simple as that. When you're playing an NFL or you're playing a USFL game, you don't get the same refs every single game. You get different, and they interpret the rules. Not that they interpret the rules; they see the game differently. And I think Mike Pereira. I love Mike Pereira, but I think for the league, it's better to have a different perspective for season 3. Right now, he's fine, but I think in the future.
Well, but in all fairness, he's not the only. Here, I'm going to sound like a girl that doesn't know football as well as you guys. But when they show him on TV, he is in the replay booth with multiple people. It's
They're
not
camera
just
guys.
it's not he is not the only one reviewing the video, right?
I think he's camera guys because he says cut to this one, cut to this one, cut to this one.
Well, they're
I think
not camera guys.
It's an
They're
operator.
they're showing angles.
Yeah.
I mean, he does have the final say, but you also hear the refs the refs talk to him. They give their side, and he does take that into account. I don't think that he does he have too much power? Probably. Do I think he's made bad calls? No. The thing that people have the biggest problem with, you can talk to Luke Miller over the newsroom, and he brings up a good point, is that, Stallions fans want to be mad about the Gamblers loss because they say that the penalties took it away. You can't blame penalties. That's the number one thing I absolutely hate in fans, is that you can't blame penalties. But what Luke was mad about was that they did these deep dives into a bunch of different plays that went the Gamblers' way, but then there were other plays that the refs missed, so Mike didn't call it out. And those may have been penalties against the Gamblers. So I can understand that aspect. I can understand that side, is that if Mike's going to have that much control, he needs to have that much control at all times and be able to maybe even call things that the refs don't call, Like, that's the point. I understand they're not going to call offensive holding on the O-line much unless it's like absolutely egregious. I came to terms with that as soon as the season started. But the other things, if you see an egregious pick route, if you see, pass interference and they didn't call it and he thinks, yeah, that probably should have been called, he should be able to call his own flags, is something that I think would help balance.
So you want a complete dictatorship.
I want Mike Pereira to call everything. No, I think that they still get to call plays, but if there's something bad that they miss, like, what else does he have all those TVs for?
I get what you're saying, but it's a spring league, right? It's not the NFL, so you get the same kind of, like, the offensive lines don't protect well, right? As well as the NFL lines, right?
No, that's why they're not calling holding. I get that.
And that's also the reason why those guys aren't playing on Sundays in the fall, right?
Yeah.
It's the same reason why these refs aren't calling holding in the fall. They're learning too. I think it's all right to miss calls. I absolutely do.
I do too.
And me with defense, like I love hitting, and like you were talking about Mark Gilbert that one week where he's handsy and everything. I love that stuff. And if you give Mike Pereira the opportunity to call that with a camera as an eye, that just is going to ruin the flow of the game and it's the fun of the game.
Okay, but at some point, why even have refs on the field other than one to spot the ball? We're in the world of AI. We're in the world that
we don't need that. They have chips.
Yeah, they have chips.
We don't need spots.
Every part of the game. Why are there even refs on the field?
Have you ever seen the movie iRobot? Have you ever seen
dog.
the movie?
It's awesome.
I don't know. Call me old and get off my lawn, but I don't need that in my life.
Cameras. I'm saying you don't need refs on the field. I'm saying those guys that are in the booth with Mike Pereira, they have all the different camera angles. Why don't you just have guys sitting there and they are just watching the camera angle that the ref would have had anyway?
They don't have 3D camera angles.
Okay, but then the chip is in the ball, so the time mark. You can quickly find the yard. That's what I'm saying, though. That's what I'm saying, is that where the line is blurry. Where do we stop? Mike Pereira is in the booth. He's not even at the game. He's in Los Angeles. Like, where does it stop? So I think there's a much more blurred and wide line of the amount of control that he has than we're even saying, because he could have full control. There could be one ref on the field who just places the ball.
That's fair.
Yeah. But KB, you said you had another question.
I do. Because you guys have let me down. I want to know what is the USFL Authority Bowl wager, gentlemen.
I saw the comment.
Oh,
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, there's a comment from
someone commented
on one of our shows saying Ace and I think it was Xander, actually.
It was probably Xander.
Yeah,
we need to have
we need to hire that kid.
Yeah, for real.
He is super organized, and we need.
It was him. He commented on Hammer Time. I think he's one of two comments on Hammer Times. The least commented on show this week, and he said, Webb, you and Ace have to have a bet for the game this week.
All right.
How about this?
I'm the least commented show of the week because my voice is authority voice. Like there's nothing to argue with me. It's top line. I missed that proof.
Everybody's just agreeing on me. Everybody's just agreeing with me. They're like, "You're the man, Ace. You're the best." No, so how about this? Loser has to wear the other person's team's hat for.
Have you ever seen Webb in a hat?
Once.
This is a big melon, bro.
Hilarious. Never.
This is a big melon. I used to back in the day, but this is a big melon. This is 7 3/4, 7 5/8
shirt.
How about just some sort of merch?
How about
yes? You have to wear some sort of merch.
Which Webb would have to buy if you won? Yeah. Although you would too. You don't have
because it's Xander's idea. If the Maulers lose, I will donate $100 to a charity of his choice. That's my wager. You can wear the Mauler stuff. That's fine. Because
I love that.
Okay, so loser donates $100 to
Xander's choice,
to the charity of Xander's choice.
I love that.
Okay, I'm in. And then I don't have to buy Mauler's gear.
I love that.
Yeah, I don't look. I live in Georgia, and I'm not a Bulldogs fan. I don't want any red and black.
Genuinely get misconstrued as a Georgia Bulldogs hat.
Or the people think
although it does have a Texas in it.
Yeah, I know, but people will be like, "Oh, you're from Texas, but you like Georgia." They'll
but you like them dogs.
Yeah. How about them dogs? Yeah. Yeah. We're not talking about Athens.
I love that. He's gonna like it. Let's do it. In. I love it.
All right. And
KB, what's the now that we just did that? KB, come on.
Oh, I haven't felt this uncomfortable in a long time.
Just say real quick.
Just say them gamblers, man. You moving out of Texas, you got to get on the gambler bandwagon.
But you're originally from the Midwest, which is kind of Pittsburgh. So.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No,
it's kind of close. Yes, it is. Pittsburgh is more Midwest.
Midwest.
Yes, they are. They're more Ohio than they are New York and New Jersey.
Just because it's a trash state and like Ohio doesn't mean that it's Midwestern.
One of the things that I love, one of the things that I love the most about my position in this network is that I don't have to choose a team. So like I fall in love with coaches, I fall in love with players, and it makes it very difficult because, I don't have the football knowledge that you guys have. So like, okay. I love Boogie. I love Jaron. I love,
He's coming. Ray is a great guy. He comes across.
But I love Coach Andy. I love Coach Bob. Johnson. Yeah.
Tyler Palka.
Tyler Palka for sure.
My man, Nick Vogel. I rep his number, although the back of my jersey says Ace.
It's Boogie though.
She loves the team. Oh my gosh.
I love them both.
I'm gonna let her off the hook, and I'm gonna say, everybody, make sure you go subscribe to the USFL Network YouTube channel.
No. I'm gonna go on. I'm gonna get on the hook. I'm gonna do it. If it truly, and I hate this because I think everybody's gonna say that I'm biased. But if I'm picking the Gamblers.
Picking the Gamblers. All right, everybody, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. Once we hit 1,000, we're going to give away a Cavante Turpin jersey.
He really left.
Make sure if you want some Boogie merch, go check it out. Yep. It's all over Boogie's page. The Boogie Monster, go check it out. This has been USFL Authority, episode 17. We will see you next week after the Gamblers win. Oh, it's going to be so exciting.
Ander, get your charity ready. Ace needs to know the address. Ace needs to know the address.
Thank you.